What's going on, guys, and welcome to the very first episode here of All Rams on Sim. My name is Sim, and today we're going to be talking about the Rams 49ers game that just happened the other day. And although it is not the results that we all wanted, to be honest, I didn't expect the Rams to beat the 49ers. However, a lot of good things happen in that game. They give me hope and to know that this Rams team is going to be very tough moving forward this season. I thought we were going to get blown out. That didn't happen. We were toe to toe up until halftime, 17-17. We did let them score in that one touchdown in the last minute and a half because we always do this against the 49ers. Every time we play them, they score a touchdown when the game is close within a minute and a half. And it's just ridiculous. But we were driving the third quarter. We were about to score, except for that one pass that gets tipped and falls out of Kerryon Williams' hands. And well, you know how the game ended. But anyway, let's dive in a little deeper. We're going to run through some things here and a couple things we like, a couple things that we didn't like, and probably like the outlook moving forward for the season. So let's take a look here. I mean, looking at this score, the game was a lot closer than the score tells the story, to be honest. I mean, we were tied 17-17. We started off, they scored first. We respond with a field goal. And then, we come back and then we score. We're just back and forth the entire game. And to be fair, Matthew Stafford played a good game. The two interceptions that he thrown, one was the one that came out of Williams' hands, and the other one was the receiver. Gee, I'm like blanking out here. Let's take a look. It wasn't Puka. Van Jefferson. I don't know why I just blacked out for a second. Van Jefferson, he didn't run the route properly. He ran it a little bit too far down the field when he was supposed to cut a little bit deep, a little bit closer, and that would allow the defensive back to kind of undercut him and then get the interception. Aside from those two interceptions, I thought we played a clean game all throughout. Our offensive line held pretty well, although I do think that once Noteboom left the field, it became an entirely different game. They put Anchorman there at right guard, and we just didn't do a good job of keeping Matthew upright for the rest of the game. They did allow one sack when Warner started blitzing, coming right down the center. But we couldn't keep him upright. Matthew wasn't as comfortable after Noteboom left, and all of a sudden, he's erratic. He's running around trying to evade the sacks left and right, and he wasn't comfortable. It didn't show the level of confidence that he had in the first half. The third and fourth quarter, he had to quickly get rid of the football and then find the receivers, and the run game basically became non-existent because we were behind at that point, and we're trying to make up yards and trying to, close the gap a little bit with the score here. But I don't know what the situation is with Noteboom. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully we can have him for next week because we got the Bengals next week, and they're not looking too hot. They're 0-2 right now. Their offense is not doing that great. This is an opportunity for us to go 2-1. But overall, against the 49ers, every time we play them, I kind of my heart rate is going crazy, and I'm just like, can we just please beat them? I hate them so much. I cannot stand the 49ers. Let me make that extremely clear. I hate them with every ounce of my being. I don't think there's any team that I hate more than the 49ers because we haven't beaten them since 2019. And so every time we play them, it's like, come on, man. We have to be able to win this game. But again, I'm going to say this to every 49ers fan that's going to be watching this or not. We won the game that counts, and I'm so thankful that we did. I will trade an additional 8 games during the season where you guys can win as long as we win the important game that sends us to the Super Bowl on our own field. So eat your hearts out. Moving on. So Matthew Stafford started the game very strong, looked very sharp, very mobile, had a lot of protection, had a lot of time to throw the football, was able to find his receivers with no problem. I picked up Puka Nacua with my last pick in a 12-man PPR league in round 17. I picked him up and I started him because I kept reading all the reports coming out of Rams camp during the summertime, and everybody's high on him. Everybody is raving about him. Everybody's saying how good he is. He's building a relationship with Cooper Kupp. He's absorbing the knowledge from Cooper Kupp. He's building a relationship with Matthew Stafford, and you can see that developing. I think with the first game in the preseason with Stetson Bennett throwing that touchdown, I think it was against the Chargers. I mean, listen, this guy, I think he's a clone of Cooper Kupp in the making. A lot of people are saying that he's like Bobby Trees, and I love Robert Woods. He's my favorite player, before Cooper Kupp came along. But there is no denying that this guy is a monster. I mean, this guy's 6'3", I think like 220 pounds, something like that. And this guy is running crisp routes. He's got 20 targets, 15 catches, 147 yards with a long of 20. This guy is killing it out. I thought, and I started in both games, and I won both games in fantasy. So thank you, Puka. You got me 30 points this second game of the season, and I'm just, very elated. I'm very happy and thankful that I picked him because I knew he was going to ball out. I did not expect him to get 20 targets against the Niners defense because, the Niners defense is not Seattle defense. And a lot of times we struggle against the Niners. However, we don't run as much, but we pass way more. There were a lot of games where we had 50 pass attempts against the Niners. I digress. Kyren Williams, what a stud. What a stud. I tried to pick him up after the first week against Seattle, but he got picked up. What a stud. I think this guy is only going to get better. I picked him up last year in fantasy, but it was too early. I think he got injured, and then he just didn't get back in. And so this year, he's going to be a monster. Cam Akers on his way out. Honestly, I don't want to say anything bad about him, but good riddance. You can see the Seattle game, 22 attempts for 29 yards, long of 20. If it wasn't for that one touchdown in the fourth quarter against Seattle, really the game will be meaningless at this point. But I just feel like he doesn't have the same energy or intensity. Like when you watch Kyren Williams run the football behind the same offensive line, this dude is running with a purpose. I mean, he is running to find the lanes. He's running to find the nooks and crannies between the offensive line. He's trying to get every yard that he can. Cam Akers is taking this time, and he's juking behind the offensive line. Dude, just run straight ahead. Pick up your own yards. Don't expect the holes just to open up for you. And I think that was the difference maker. I think that was what let Sean McVay be like, you know what? I think it's time for us to move on. And that's why he was an inactive, healthy scratch against the Niners. I don't think he would have done anything different. He's a great, catcher outside of the backfield. But other than that, he doesn't do anything with pass blocking. Kyren Williams came in and did that flawlessly. You'll see him a couple times on right behind the offensive line and picking up blitzes. This dude is a stud. I'm glad that we have him. He's only going to get better. And just imagine if we had a better offensive line. My goodness, I cannot even think about it. Moving on to Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell, I thought this guy was a bust. I was pissed off at the Rams for picking him 3 years ago because we could have gotten that center that the Chiefs picked in the same round, and he was available, and we picked Tutu Atwell. But you know what? I don't know if a switch got flicked. I don't know what happened to Tutu, but Tutu, keep doing you, boo-boo, because you are killing it, brother. You are killing it. That is 2 games in a row with over 5 catches. This one got 7 catches for 77 yards, a long of 18, 9 targets. And every time Matthew throws him the football, he catches it. There were a couple passes that he couldn't make it, but everything else, he's got sure hands. And he is so darn fast. He is very fast. I think I cannot wait until Cooper Kupp comes back, because when Cooper Kupp comes back, I think they might put Tutu in the slot. And then that will open up the game, or even to put him on the X position. You put Cooper in the slot, put him in the X position, pick your own poison. You know what I'm saying? Who are you going to cover? Cooper on the inside with a slant? Or in the slot? Or are you going to pick up Tutu on the X or the Z? Listen, at this point, it doesn't matter. Tutu has matured. You can see that he has matured, and he's catching everything they're thrown his way. Tyler Higbee, I don't know what's going on with him. He had a decent game the first game against Seattle. This game, he's got 7 targets, 3 catches for 12 yards. A little bit disappointing. I love Tyler Higbee. He's a hard-nosed tight end. He's like a poor man's, George Kittle. Okay? So some games he is like George Kittle, if not better. Other games, he's if you don't have enough money, this is what you get. You know, Ben Skoranek, I can't really put my finger on Ben Skoranek. I feel like he's a jack of all trades. He's a fullback. They put him in motion with a little sweep around the back of the backfield. He can't catch the football, but he's not somebody that I would actually expect him to be a number 1, 2, 3, maybe a 4th receiver. I mean, if I really have to. He's great at run blocking. He's a stud at run blocking. I mean, they've used him as a fullback a couple times, but he's nothing more than that. Van Jefferson, I love Van Jefferson. I really, really do. He's had a couple good seasons, aside from last year when he was injured most of the time. But this year, he was supposed to be our number 1 receiver until Cooper Kupp comes back. And that didn't happen. I thought during even fantasy draft, people were very high on him because he'll be the number 1 guy. He'll be like Cooper Kupp. He's going to get able to target because there was literally nobody else on the Rams receiving core that was going to get targets from Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson was the guy. Puka Nacua, not a lot of people knew about him unless you're a Rams fan or unless you're like a hard, nerdy fantasy football player and you're like studying everybody and their, cousins and relatives. You wouldn't have known about Puka Nacua. And Tutu, every year in training camp, everybody is high on everybody. They're making great catches. They're explosive. They're different. This is the best shape of their life every single year until the actual games start, and it becomes a different story. With Van Jefferson, he was supposed to be our number 1 guy until Cooper Kupp comes back. But that has not been the case. He had 4 targets, 1 reception for 9 yards, and he dropped a couple. And the other one, he ran the route. He didn't cut it sooner. He just kept running, and then the Niners DB ended up just undercutting him and intercepting the football. I mean, that's not. To be fair, I don't think Matthew. It was his fault that he threw the 2 interceptions. I don't think that was the case. I think it was the ball that came out of Williams' hand and the wrong route running by Van Jefferson. And Tutu ran a wrong route. I mean, was it? It was Tutu. Tutu ran a hook, and he was supposed to keep going back towards the end zone, and he didn't. And that's why we got that penalty for intentional grounding. We're a young team, okay? We are an extremely young team. I think we're like the 3rd or 2nd youngest team in the NFL right now. There are going to be a lot of growing pains moving forward. I'm not expecting us to dominate every single game. I'm not expecting us to win every single game. I expect us to be extremely competitive, but these are the things that we're going to have to go through. These are the growing pains that we're going to have to go through. These are the things that we're going to have to fix. And like Coach McVay said, is not missed opportunity. It's a learning opportunity, So moving on from that, Ronnie Rivers came back in the end, with 1 catch for 4 yards. Ronnie Rivers, I picked him last year. He didn't do much for me. But, again, I think we have a solid running back room that are going to be doing a really, really good job. Looking on the defensive side, Ernest Jones, 10 tackles, 5 solos, still doing a good job. Jordan Fuller, I saw him flying all over the field, did a great job. Michael Hoyt, there was that one play with Deebo Samuel running the sweep around the back where he scored a touchdown. They were saying that he was supposed to be running with him or something or switching, and it ended up being a missed. I don't know. Russ Yeast is a surprise so far. He's played really well. Can't say anything bad about him. Byron Young, I'm actually very high on him right now. I think he's going to be doing fantastic moving forward. He's the only one that got a sack on Purdy. I can't stand that guy. Brock Purdy. What a name. Byron Young did a really, really good job on Brock Purdy. And I think he's only going to get better. We really need another edge rusher. Byron, I don't know, I'm having a hard time saying his name. Byron Young, BY, is good. And he's only going to get better. We need another edge rusher. I'm sorry, Michael Hoy, I don't think he's the one. I don't, in a backup role on a third down, rushing the passer, maybe. But to be an every down linebacker, edge rusher, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But from what I'm seeing, we need another edge rusher. Michael Hoyer is not going to cut it for us. As far as Kobe Durant, Darion Kendrick, they did really well. I think it was DK that had that pass interference in the end zone that allowed him to score the tying touchdown at the end of the second quarter. I think we just have to, again, we're a very young defense. DK Metcalf came out and before the first game of the season and he said, I don't think I know any of their names. And honestly, I think the Rams defense should name themselves, the no-name defense because nobody knows who they are. And it's not an insult. It's actually, they should be very, proud of that because they're showing up. And I mean, listen, when you keep the Rams in the game for as long as they have against the Niners, I honestly thought we were going to get blown out, but we didn't. Kobe Durant, DK are going to be fantastic for us. I don't think that they're bad. I think that they're very young, need some more polishing. Kobe Turner did fantastic. Bobby Brown Jr. did the same thing. John Johnson, I think he's just getting back in the groove of things. I'm surprised that he's not a starter right now. But Russ Yeast has been doing a good job keeping that position for himself. So we'll see how that goes. But I was very excited when John Johnson came back from the Browns. There were a lot of reports out there saying that nobody wanted him, that he wasn't as good as they thought he was. But I feel like coming back with the Rams who drafted him and he was a star in our defensive back unit when we won the Super Bowl back in 2018, I think that now that he's back with us, maybe give him a couple weeks and he'll be back to his form. Trey Tomlinson, I didn't really see much of him. Aaron Donald, surprisingly quiet. He had one QB hit, but Aaron Donald, unfortunately, doesn't really have a good game. He had maybe a couple good games against the Niners, but nothing really, great. Because they double and triple team him the entire time. So obviously he's not going to be able to, run through them all the time. So he takes away the pressure from other defensive players, which he always does, which is why he's the GOAT and the best defensive player of all time. But we need another edge rusher. Every time Brett Maher took a field goal, I was literally holding my breath. Because ever since he was with the Cowboys and, he lost he missed 5 extra points against the Bucs. That freaked me out. Every time now he's taking a field goal, I'm like, please don't miss, please don't miss, please don't miss. But so far, knock on wood, he has been perfect, except for the first game where he had a blocked and then the missed. Yeah, whatever. But, other than that, he's been pretty good. As far as the Niners go, Brock Purdy is a game manager. He's not going to scare you with his strong arm. He had a bunch of passes that were overthrown. The players were wide open. He just overthrew them because he doesn't have, I don't know if he misread it. I don't know if the receiver ran the wrong route or, he was being rushed. I don't know. But when I was watching the game, there were a couple plays where he overthrew a couple receivers that were wide open that could have taken it to the house. That would have killed us. CMC, honestly, I'm very happy with the performance of the Rams defense against CMC because if you guys remember the first game that he came to play against us last year after we played him against the Panthers or something like that, he threw for a touchdown, he caught a touchdown, and he rushed for a touchdown. The guy toasted us, all right? And so I was very, very terrified of that. But he had 20 carries for 116 yards and 1 touchdown. And he also caught 3 passes for 19 yards, a long of 9. I think that the reason why he's so successful is because of the weapons around and also because the offensive line of the 49ers is pretty good on the left side. And, they're just too good. They are a unit. And as much as it pains me to say that, but they are a good football team that you need to play a perfect game without any mistakes in order to win. And if you don't do that, they're going to come at you and they're going to beat you, which is exactly what happened to us. It was the 2 interceptions that really cost us the game. If you think about it, we're driving in the third quarter, right? And Matthew throws the ball to Kyron Williams and it bounces off his hand and gets intercepted. We lost all momentum at that point. Anyway, I digress. Deebo Samuel, can't stand him. 6 catches for 63 yards, 9 targets. We held him pretty well. Brandon Ayuk got dinged up a little bit. 3 catches on 6 targets, 43 yards. Juwan Jennings, surprise, 3 targets, 2 catches, 51 yards. George Kittle, now, he always has a good game against the Rams. He always does very well. But in this game, 10 yards a catch is not a make or break. I thought we did very well. We usually do good against tight ends. I mean, if you look at when we're playing, against Tampa Bay, we held Gronkowski for almost, the lowest amount of receptions and yards that he could have had, against any given team. We usually do very, very well against top-tier tight ends. We don't let them get into the game. We don't let them exploit our defense very often. So kudos to the Rams defense on that. And then again, CMC, 3 catches, 19 yards. Deebo and Brock Purdy, they both lost a fumble. But, they fumbled twice, but somehow they got it. It just, it's just these games, man. These games, they always go the Niners' way, and we never – and I feel like the refs also work with the Niners. I don't understand. Or there were a bunch of calls that we didn't get. There was a fumble by Deebo that I thought that he lost, and the Rams should have challenged. And the Niners called a timeout, and we still didn't challenge it. And then that kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. Like, what do you have to lose? I mean, McVay has a habit of calling timeouts in the first 2 minutes of the game. It wouldn't hurt to throw a challenge flag for crying out loud and kind of see what happened with Deebo Samuel. But, they played a really good game. I mean, Greenlaw, 12 tackles, 7 solo. Fred Warner, 11 tackles, 9 solo with 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 padded passes. That's bad. That's bad. We had 6 QB hits. We had 3 QB hits. 2 tackles for loss. We had no tackles for loss. Again, if you look at this, the Niners defense is the most expensive defense in the NFL. They are stacked. They are stacked. They are ready to hunt you down. They are on a mission. And we are a young team. You have to remember that. We are a very young team. So I'm not worried about that at all. They had 3 field goals. All right, 3 extra points. We did better in punting. That's fine. Overall, I mean, look, I can go play by play. Team stats here. What do we got? We got 28 first downs versus 21 first downs. Total, we ran more plays. We had more yards. Yards per play, less. Passing, we obviously had more. Rushing, we had about, 70 yards more than we did. Red zone attempts, 2 out of 3. Penalties, even at that point. It's really the turnovers that really killed it. We got 2 turnovers here. And the time of possession, we still won the time of possession. I mean, listen, guys. We are a young team. And we went toe-to-toe with the 49ers. We were able to hold our own against the 49ers. And that is nothing to be ashamed of. I'm actually very excited about this because the next time we play them, this defensive front that we have, this young linebacker, young defensive backs, they're going to spend time together. They are going to get to know each other. They're going to develop better chemistry. We're going to be able to understand one another better. They're going to grow together. We need to give it time. I had no expectations going into this game that the Rams were going to win. Zero expectations. Honestly, I did not think we were going to win, right? But I did not expect us to be tied 17-17 at halftime, even though we let the Niners score within a minute and a half before halftime. Had we held on to that lead going into halftime and come back and kick a field goal, we're up 10 points now. The outcome might have been different. We have to remember that. So there are a lot of things that we got to change up here. There are a lot of things that we need to tweak. We're still going to sharpen. We're still going to get better. You know, this offensive line is the best one that we have had since the Super Bowl season, right? Last year was a disaster. It was the most combination of offensive lines in NFL history. Was it 23 different combinations of starting offensive lines? It was insane. Nobody can stand behind our offensive line and survive. But this year, whatever the Rams are doing with the offensive line, keep doing it. I hope Noteboom is okay. I hope he comes back, because after he left, I think it was early in the third quarter. I think after he left in the third quarter, we were not the same. We were completely different. We couldn't pass as well. We couldn't protect as well. We couldn't run as well. So what I'm really excited about is Matthew Stafford being healthy. Kyren Williams is killing it. Puka Nacua, this guy is going to win Rookie Offensive Player of the Year, hands down. Number one in targets. Nobody has had more targets in the first 2 games of their NFL career than Puka Nacua. First rookie to have that many receptions and targets in their first 2 games to start off their NFL career, Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua is going to win the Rookie Offensive Player of the Year. And can you just imagine when Cooper Kupp comes back, what the offense is going to be like? So remember, we played the Niners without Cooper Kupp. We played the Niners with a young defense. It was their second game together this season. And if it wasn't for 2 interceptions, this game would have been better for us. Better outcome for us. And Noteboom went down in the third quarter. So if we can get an edge rusher along with BY, and if we can shore up, and what happened? Hold on a minute. What happened to that guard that we got from the Steelers? Why is he not starting? Maybe he's getting acquainted to the playbook. I don't know. But guys, you gotta remember, we played the Niners without Cooper Kupp. We had a rookie receiver and a third-year receiver that was presumably a bust. Right? The only other 2 players on our offense, or 3 players on our offense that were good, Matthew Stafford, Rob Havenstein, and Tyler Higbee. And those were the other 3, players that you can actually depend on the offensive side of the football, that you can actually count on to carry this team. And so, to me, I think that the sky is the limit. I'm super excited about this Rams defense. I'm super excited about the Rams offense. They're only going to get better. And nobody's going to want to play us moving forward this season. We have nothing to lose. We are not making insane trades like we did 2 years ago to go to the Super Bowl. We don't have a lot of pressure. We're the second or third youngest team in the NFL, with Matthew Stafford being healthy, Aaron Donald being healthy and hungry. These Rams players are hungry. We are hungry. We're going to come after you, and we're going to play fast, and we're going to win. But that will take time. That will take time. And so I had no expectations for the Rams to beat the Niners. I'm glad that we didn't get blown out. I'm glad that the game was close. I mean, you're looking at it 17-17 at halftime. They scored 13 points in the second half. You know, I feel like the Rams defense always ends up making great adjustments after halftime, especially the defense. I don't know what it is about the Rams, but we never, seldom, rarely do we start a game strong on defense where the defense is holding them down to a field goal, right? Unless we're playing a really bad team. It's usually after the second half, after halftime, actually, where, Raheem Morris, listen, give him all the credit in the world for this defense because they're doing a great job. He makes great adjustments, and you can tell that the Rams defense settles in the third and fourth quarter, and they kind of hunker down a little bit, and they kind of, keep it in there, and they put the pressure on. So I think Coach McVay is doing a great job. I think having, LaFleur as an offensive coordinator is doing a phenomenal job. You can also tell by the kind of plays that we're running, the sweeps, the motions. It kind of reminds me of 2017, 2018, the sweeping and the motions, before the snap. And that was to help Jared Goff kind of read the defense and see if they're playing man or zone or where the blitz is coming from or what formation they're using. But now we're doing it because we got offensive weapons on both ends. We got Puka and we got Tutu, who Puka keeps getting open. I don't know how, but whatever it is, keep doing what you're doing, bro. And Tutu is super fast. He's like the Flash. And so now we're doing all these new things here that I think are better from what we did last year, and honestly, even when we won the Super Bowl, because it became very repetitive and teams started to figure us out a little bit. But I think having LaFleur, and even Kyle Shanahan talked about this, that he was pissed off when McVay signed LaFleur as the offensive coordinator because he kind of worked with him and he knows what's going on. So I think I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful for this Rams offense and defense. These Rams players are not last year's Rams players. This defense is not last year's defense. This defense is young, is fast, and is hungry. And they need to be fed. They're going to feast. They are going to feast. But it's coming. Now, as far as next week, we're playing the Bengals on Monday Night Football. And I'm terrified of the Bengals because it's going to be a revenge game for them. I'm probably going to have a video talking about that. But the Bengals are going to be, they're looking for the first win. And so 2 weeks in a row where they lose, they don't play good football. Joe Burrow right now got a calf problem going on. I don't know what the situation is at the quarterback position. I don't know if they're going to start somebody else, but we cannot take it for granted. We have to go out there and be just as hungry as we have been throughout the season. So I'm very excited. I'm not as pissed off about us losing to the Niners. I thought that we did a lot of good stuff. I was looking at the Rams playing. Again, you look at the beginning of it. They just need to settle down. There's not a lot you can see them get into. Brock Purdy, but somehow they just keep getting. This is when Ayuk started getting banged up a little bit. But their offensive line, man, Look at the Niners' offensive line. They're just fast, strong, and Juszczyk, I can't stand that guy. But you see, they're running. They're just running with, just anger. They're just running angry at you. And the other thing, too, is, why can't we have home field advantage? I don't understand. Why can't we have home field advantage playing the Niners? Crying out loud, man. You can see, when I was watching the game, and they would bring you a shot of you looking over the stadium, it's all red. What are we doing? But Puka, my boy, so glad I picked him up on my fantasy team. So glad. Listen, they're doing very good. Very good with Puka Nacua. But we need to stop the screens. Stop doing the screens. It doesn't work every time. It does not work. If you're going to do it with Tutu. Don't do it with Puka. But our defense is young. Our defense is so young. It's only going to get better. We played really well, and I'm proud of the boys. Did a great job. And I thought, honestly, in the second half, I mean, look at that one big run. My God. I can't stand him. I can't stand him. They just piss me off. Look at that. We're not getting enough pressure. But that was a really good pass, defense that we had going on. Overall, I thought we played pretty well. Look at the stadium, man. It's all red. Like, how is this possible? Offensive line did pretty good. No Boom did a good job. Puka just keeps getting open. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it. But they do a really good job. They do a really, really good job. Let me open up here a little bit. There we go. They do a really good job. I mean, if you're looking at this, look at that. That's beautiful. Kyron Williams, man, I'm telling you right now, Kyron Williams is going to be a star. He is going to be a star. Look at that. No Boom. Everybody's running up there. Block, block, block. Boom. Right there. You already got your two blockers right there. Bam. Avila's right there. Avila's pretty good. But, it's, again, the defense is going to get better. That's what I'm expecting out of them. Debo Samuel running again. Look at that. Look at that with the block. Look at that. They just run hard. They just run very hard. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. This is where we take the lead for the last time. Tutu is pretty good, man. Tutu is very good. Can't go wrong with Tutu. When Matthew Stafford has time to throw the football, we are nasty. We are nasty. Look at that. Pass covered. Look at that. Look at that. That's the same play. I don't know why I played it twice. There we go. Pass protection. Pass protection. Bam. Puka with the catch. There we go. Look at that. Like, you see how Kyron runs so hard? Runs very hard with the football. Like, he just fights his way through. Like, Cam Akers won't do that. And it sucks because I like Cam Akers. I've liked Cam Akers. I've defended Cam Akers, but my God, like, you look at a minute 40 seconds, and then bam, like, they just run to midfield. They're already at midfield. Like, what are we doing? There 42 seconds left. Look at that, wide open. Like, we can't keep a lead. Unreal. We did pretty good though, until they had to run it in and then tie the game with zeros on the clock. Ugh. It's really exhausting. It's really exhausting losing to this Niners team. I'm going to skip through here a little bit. I think that was after the interception, maybe. Yep, there we go. Overthrown. Overthrown. This is after the interception because they got the 3 points. Look at this. All red in our home team, man. In our home stadium. Sucks. So no Boom is out. Look at that. No Boom is out. And then Ankrum comes in 72. And he's not no Boom. He's just not the same. We lost our mojo. We're losing our momentum. Bam, wide open. Yeah, that one kind of sucked a little bit. That one sucked the life out of me a little bit there. That was a really good catch. I'm not gonna lie, that was a really good catch. And there it is. This is the missed tackle. 3 missed tackles. It makes you wonder, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And Debo's the one that has to score. He always has to score on a rushing play against us. Always. And then there's going to be another interception coming up. You see, like, he doesn't have time to stand in the pocket. The pocket is not clean. The pocket is not clean. Puka's the one that's saving the day. 20 targets, 15 catches. My God. Puka. No, this is Skronik. And there's going to be the interception right there coming up. No, not this one. Maybe the next one. But look at the way Kyron runs, man. Kyron runs like he's on a mission. He just drops it. Terrible. There we go. Make it 27-20. They're going to go probably get another 3 points. Like the way that Debo runs. Yeah, that was the fumble right there. That was the fumble. Yep, there we go. That was the interception. Now on the replay, Jefferson did not run the route the way it should have been because Matthew's expecting him to cut it sooner, and then he ends up undercutting him and then getting the football. There we go. Number 72. Look at that. Number 72 is doing a decent job now. I guess, I don't know. We let a couple, after No Boom came out, that was the end of it. That was the end of it. We have to stop doing the draw. Why would you do a draw? Why would you do a draw play on a 4th and 1? Like, these are the things that just makes me scratch my head. Like, you had a 4th down and you passed it and you got it. Why would you do a draw? I don't get it. 72 right there. All right, held up his own a little bit. 72 right there. No Boom. When No Boom left, held his own a little bit. You see, when Matthew has time, right there, 72. Time. Look at that. When Matthew has time, we can throw the football. 72. Hold your place. There we go. Puka, mother loving Nakua, bro. He is a boss. And that was the game. That was the game. So, guys. We have a young team, and I'm so excited about it. I'm very proud of my boys, Rams, keeping up with the 49ers, even though, a couple of mistakes here and there. But overall, I'm so proud of this team. I think that we are going to do some, we are going to surprise a lot of people, believe it or not. We are going to surprise a lot of people. And so, sky's the limit. We're a young defense. We're a young offensive line. And, as long as we get No Boom back, you can see the difference in the offense between the first half and the second half. The first half, we were tied up 17-17. Second half, not as good, Matthew wasn't as comfortable in the pocket. I think that if we have a solid, healthy starting 5 on the offensive line, just give Matthew time to dissect the defense and to sling it with his right arm. That's all we need. Just give Matthew time, make him comfortable, and we will win every game. Almost. Well, we lost this one. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think. I mean, let me know if the Rams are going to be anything this season. Let me know if we're going to go to the playoffs or not. I think we are. I think we might go to the divisional round. Maybe a 10-7 team. Again, we are a young team. I think we are looking forward towards 2024. We are not tanking. I cannot see this team tanking. I don't get the impression that they are tanking. The way that they are playing shows me otherwise. And I have no reason to believe that they are tanking. So, tanking out of the question at this point. I think we are playing for the playoffs. Maybe not the division this year. Because the 49ers, they have a bill to pay. They're going to have to pay Purdy at some point. Their offensive line is not young anymore. Williams on the left tackle is old. What was he, 33, 34? maybe he'll be like our left tackle when he left. But, you know, they're going to have to pay. Their defense is the most expensive defense in the National Football League. They're not going to be able to afford all of that, and Christian McCaffrey, and Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle. It's just not going to happen. They're playing for right now. They are dying to win the Super Bowl. You know, who knows if they'll win or not, but the Rams are looking scary. The Rams are looking scary. They're going to want to get better. They're going to get better this season. I'm telling you right now. We played 2 tough games first 2 weeks of the season. If we beat the Bengals next week, oh, watch out. Watch out. I mean, it depends on Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow starts and we beat them, watch out. If he doesn't start, it doesn't count. At that point, we still have to win. But if he doesn't start and we win this game, fine. But if he starts and we win, watch out. But anyway, that's all for today, folks. Thank you so much for joining the very first episode of All Rams on Sim. I'm Sim, and I'll see you next one. Go Rams.